So, if this is your first time joining me, then thank you and welcome. Today is the new moon in Cancer. So it's kind of an intense one, really. I don't know if you guys have been feeling it, but I definitely have. Emotionally, like there's a lot that's coming up around this new moon, and it's interesting as well because it's the first moon cycle that we're having after the solstice. So it's kind of like a really pivotal point in the year where we're also called to reflect back on things that have happened throughout the year, like all the goals and intentions that we set earlier in the year, and kind of checking in with how far we've come with those and where we might need to shift things around to get back into alignment with those. It's also that some of those intentions we set earlier in the year, some of the things we started working towards are no longer like resonating with us, and so it's a good time to really reflect on all of that and definitely to set some new intentions, solid intentions for the months ahead as well. So we're looking at more long term rather than just this cycle as well at this time. Obviously, it being in the sign of Cancer, like I say, like there's a lot of emotional stuff that's coming up, but it's also asking us to really kind of dig deep in a sense regarding that, because we can all have this like tough outer shell, as you know, the Cancer is represented by the crab, so in that way we all have that at times, and like inside there's all this vulnerability and softness, and actually when we tap into that, we're more able to like be our authentic selves and share our truths with the world, and actually from that place we can just create a lot more healing and give a lot more positive energy to the world, and also feel a lot more joy within ourselves, because I feel this moon is kind of highlighting for us where we've been hiding or kind of keeping in the shadows, similarly to the crab. Like, where are we kind of sidestepping issues and just being afraid to face them head on, or being afraid to just take the jump and like go into something new? Because I feel as well, like since the eclipses and all of this transformational energy that we've had this year, it's been kind of calling us collectively to be like moving on a path that's like in alignment with kind of our purpose here in this lifetime, and like something that we're supposed to be doing for the collective, not just for ourselves. So it's kind of been a little bit of pressure in that way to push us in another direction. So I know for a lot of people, even in the past few months, like people have been just kind of feeling drawn to new paths and like new things, especially spiritually. So I feel like that's a big thing now. So it's, I think, giving us this opportunity now to look at that and say, like, where can I just dig a bit deeper and just express myself a little bit more openly and more authentically, and how can I like get over those fears of just putting myself out there. So there's a lot of things to reflect on around this new moon. Also obviously new moons bring a lot of insight into things that we've been experiencing, and being Cancer and being very emotional and watery, it's likely that right now we're being kind of reminded of maybe any emotional issues that are still kind of weighing over us, or things that have happened throughout the year that affected us emotionally and may not yet be resolved. So it's quite likely that we'll get a lot of insight into how those situations can be resolved, or just kind of a deeper call to revisit those situations and see how maybe we can have an influence on resolving them ourselves. So the moon today carries the numerology of master number 22 as well as number 4, which is very synchronistic with the energy of this moon, because it's kind of about taking action, and also like not being afraid to just follow the call that you're receiving as well. So 4 can also like represent kind of a crossroads, so it's like the 4 different directions, and so this moon is also about making those tough decisions, which I think links back to tapping into that inner vulnerability and like being really honest with ourselves. You know, it's not just about like putting on that front and acting like we have it all together and we know what we're doing. Like we have to look a little bit deeper and see, you know, where maybe we're off track, or where we might need to change some things. So yeah, I'm going to pull some cards, and then I have a small ritual for us to do together, which is really just focused on healing and the heart chakra. So let's first have a look what cards left here. Yeah, I don't know if you guys have been feeling it, but like yesterday I literally just had to let it out and have a big cry, and I just know that it was because this moon is just calling that release of emotion. Yeah. So the first thing that's come out is the Tower and the Sun. So it's really interesting. It's like so much change has happened, like this so far this year, actually, like leading up to this point. And I feel like there's still a lot to come. Like there's still a lot that needs to be rooted out of our lives that is no longer right for us, or no longer resonating with like the path that we need to be going on. So there's a lot of change, and like relationships maybe coming out of our lives, like different jobs, changing homes, like literally everything kind of shifting. But it's all to push us into this place of greater alignment with what we're supposed to be doing. And that's why the Sun comes out next, because it's like, you know, after all this change and shifting, if we're able to not resist and actually allow it to unfold and trust in like a greater plan of like why things are happening the way that they are, we will really come to this place of pure joy and peace within ourselves. But it is about surrendering and letting go of the past and releasing like the heaviness of the things that we carry, like especially in terms of guilt and shame and just those difficult emotions that I think we find harder to express and a lot easier to hold within the body. So yeah, like the Five of Cups coming up as well, which is like again signifying that need to stop dwelling on like the things that have changed, the things that maybe seem like they've gone wrong on the surface level, but actually on a deeper level these things have changed because, you know, the universe is saying like that's not what you need anymore. Like we're gonna push you in another direction, which is exactly what's needed for you and for the collective consciousness as well. And something that's been coming up a lot recently in my readings and is coming up here for us today is this whole push to like channel our creative energy. Like individually we all have something that the world needs right now, and we all have something to share, and we really need to kind of get back in touch with that creative energy and express that freely. And I think that comes back to this this idea of like the emotional side of Cancer. It's like just being vulnerable and actually just putting ourselves out there in that sense of like trusting our ability, and whatever that call is, you know, just going with it, as it is about trusting our intuition and becoming back to that place of trust within ourselves. It's interesting actually because I was sharing the other day that I'm going to be doing some workshops, and I did some polls about which kind of topic would be good to start with, and what got the most results was honouring and trusting ourselves. And I just feel like that's such a collective theme right now, and it's because of this, because we're like getting all these insights and ideas and new paths that we're being called to, and it's kind of like making us question ourselves, question our reality, and wonder if, you know, if we're doing the right thing, or if our ideas are right, or, and like I say, coming past that fear of just approaching like new opportunities, which is what's coming up as well. New beginnings and opportunities, especially in terms of work, abundance, and just like calling all of that energy in. Really, there's actually 2 aces here, which is really nice because it's kind of just a reminder that, you know, no matter what is shifting and changing right now, no matter how heavy everything is feeling, it's gonna pass, and it's all gonna be revealed to us why we had to go through this process. But in order for us to embrace that, we do have to make sure we release. So this moon is like showing us, so pay attention to any like things that pop into your mind, maybe things from the past, random memories. Like if things pop up, it's good to kind of sit with that and try and evaluate why that might have been coming up for you, because there may be some emotion attached to that needs to be released, and sometimes it can be small things that we don't even think affect us, so that's why it's really good to kind of sit with that. But yeah, as I say, like 10 of Cups as well as the Sun is just really beautiful, because it's literally just like there is so much completion here as well, and joy to be embraced. And I think it's also reminding us of that need to find that balance as well, because I guess the Tower also kind of represents like worldly events right now. Like the world seems like everything's crumbling, like all the structures that are in place seem to not be working well, and there is so much happening, and it does kind of feel like everything's falling apart, but it's almost as though some of this stuff needs to collapse so that new ways can be rebuilt and formed. And I think it's just about us remembering to stay in tune with our joy, instead of allowing the weight of everything to kind of sit on us and prevent us from actually feeling happiness, because yeah, that's the energy that we want to be projecting into the world, is joy and peace. And if we're too hung up on all the negatives and the heaviness of stuff, like it's really hard to do that. So yeah, right now it's about giving. So there's a Knight of Cups and the Strength here as well, which is like reminding us that it's time to, you know, offer our love to ourselves, start trusting ourselves, start believing in ourselves. Like we all have innate wisdom and knowledge within us. It's just about tapping into it and trusting it. So yeah, I feel also that doing this workshop that's coming up is going to be really kind of synchronistic with the energies that we're currently moving through as well. I'm going to take one of my oracle cards to interesting insight, which I feel is very relevant as well, because that is kind of exactly what a new moon is about. You know, it's about giving us a deeper kind of insight into things that are going on in our lives, a new perspective in some ways. So it's really about just like staying open to that, and kind of, yeah, like an openness to like seeing things in a new light, and shifting our perspective a little bit in order to release what needs to be released, and to kind of give ourselves back that sense of peace. So that we can kind of be a little bit more free in that sense. And it's interesting that this card is number 11 as well, so it's like we have 11 and the numerology today of 22, so it's like real divine assistance that is around us right now. So it's a really good time to try and tune into that and connect with like the higher power or your inner voice, and whatever it is that you kind of believe in. So what I wanted to do was just like a small ritual, or just a healing kind of practice. So basically all we're going to do is just kind of focus on healing into our heart chakra, and over some like any situations that are kind of weighing down on us, or unresolved emotional issues that we kind of want to move past. So yeah, if you just actually first you might want to, if you do this, like cleanse your space, because I mean it's always good to do this anyway, but a new moon is particularly beneficial because we're shedding everything from the previous cycle. And so cleansing our space energetically also really helps to kind of solidify that in a physical sense as well. So yeah, just take a moment to cleanse your space if you wish to. So if we just take a few deep breaths and close our eyes just to kind of center, and then just placing a hand onto your heart chakra, or both if you want to. And so visualizing a kind of green, emerald green light just emanating from your heart and growing bigger and bigger. Just really feel like a healing and loving energy coming from that green light. And just breathe it into your body. And take a moment to kind of go back in your mind to a situation that may be unresolved, something that is emotionally been difficult for you this year, or even something current that you're currently moving through. And try to visualize as though you are looking down on this issue from above, or the people involved. And from that place, as you breathe, just visualize that green emerald light flowing over the whole situation and everyone that's involved in that, offering just pure healing to everyone. Offering them release and yourself. Just stay with that feeling for a moment. And when you're ready, just say a little I love you to yourself, to offer yourself some healing too. And whenever you're ready, just open your eyes. So hopefully that's been a nice practice for you. It felt really nice for me because there's definitely some situations that I feel need resolving in my life too. So yeah, I think it's just really good to kind of put ourselves into that experience and offer that healing, I guess, to everyone, even people that we may be having difficulty with, because yeah, all of that energy helps us collectively to heal anyway. So finally today, obviously it's the new moon, so it's a good time to set intentions. As I explained earlier, it's the first new moon since the solstice, so a really kind of pivotal time. Yeah, it's a big shift, and it is the start. Actually, it's very synchronistic that it's a Cancer moon that starts us on this cycle of going a little bit deeper inwards into like the more darker parts of ourselves as we go through the rest of the year. So yeah, we're just going to write some intentions. If you have a piece of paper, or if you need to get one, you may just want to do this afterwards if you'd like to write some more as well. But really just thinking in terms of, as I said, like a bit more long term, or the things that you've been doing this year that, like, are they still in alignment? Like, do I still want to be doing them? Do I need to be doing something different? What can I change about myself? How can I express myself more creatively and more freely in the world? How can I use my voice more to like help others and to give myself that sense of freedom? So it's, I think, on a very like inward kind of level, looking at what kind of intentions you want to put out there, what you want to manifest in the next few months. So yeah, just take a moment to maybe write a few things down. Sometimes it helps to write your intentions down in like the form of an affirmation as well, so it's like you're saying it as if it's already happened. So like starting with I am and then writing the things that you want to do. I feel like it can be a lot more like, feel a lot more powerful then as well, and it also is something that then you can use as an affirmation as the weeks go on and actually repeat them to yourself for greater manifestation power. So with your intentions that you've written, it's good to like keep them somewhere where you're gonna like be reminded of them for the next couple of weeks at least. So maybe like under like a crystal, folded up like under a crystal somewhere to kind of like empower them and give them more energy, or like by the windowsill so they get sun and moon energy. Wherever it just feels good, really. You might even want to keep them under your pillow and like really try and connect with that in your dream space as well. So there's loads of things you can do, but just to like keep your awareness to them, not just to write them down and then kind of forget. And and like, so when you come to the full moon in a couple of weeks, hopefully you'll have some truths revealed to you around those things that you've put your intentions into, and hopefully seeing some of the beginnings of those things coming into fruition as well. So yeah, I hope that this session was helpful for you guys. I will come back with another session on the full moon in a couple of weeks. The other thing that I wanted to say is I'm doing this workshop in next week on the 7th of July, which is all about honouring and trusting ourselves. So I'm really going to go deep in the session in terms of my knowledge and insights on the subject, as well as like things that we can physically do in our daily lives to increase that. And yeah, there's going to be a lot of like self-reflection and space for that in the session as well. And following that, I've been called to kind of create more community recently, and I've just been wondering how the best way to do that is. When I go back to the UK, I'm definitely going to do some in-person stuff, but for now, I've been given the idea to create a WhatsApp group, which will be kind of an intimate space where we can share our ideas, like whatever growth you're moving through, especially if you join the workshop, like to be able to discuss with other people that are on the same path, and yeah, just really like have the openness and connection with other people. So yeah, if anyone is interested in that, please let me know. I'll also be like sharing tips and insights in that space. Otherwise, as always, message me if you need to book a reading anytime, and thank you so much for joining me today. Make sure you give yourself time to just be still today and process anything that's coming up, and give yourself a lot of self-care and allow emotions to flow as well. Yeah, we don't want to keep them trapped inside, like inside of our shell. So just try to embrace anything that's coming up. Cry and laugh and let it all out. But yeah, so I'm going to close the session now. Thank you so much, and I will hopefully see you guys on the full moon in a couple of weeks.